has heard of the grassy knoll. But other than you folks here in the choir, almost no American alive in 2001 has heard about Building 7. I've lobbied in Congress, gone to the Senate, take my 3-minute smoking gun video, as I call it, about the Building 7. It's just 3 minutes long. It shows the BBC announcing the collapse of Building 7 before it happened, you know, with the building clearly visible over Jane Stanley's shoulder, still standing. It shows Larry Silverstein talking about his decision to pull it. And then it shows about a dozen views of Building 7 coming down from a lot of different angles, no visible fires, all the rest of that. I showed that, as a matter of fact, to Obama's chief of staff when Obama was still a senator and candidate. I only got to talk to Obama for a few seconds, but I had his chief of staff for over an hour. And I put that DVD in, and he sat there and he watched that with me. He had never heard of Building 7. And he's chief of staff for who is now the most powerful man on earth. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we've got work to do. We have to spread the truth, because our country cannot exist unless we destroy these government myths and expose the truth. And now with Obama expanding the war in Afghanistan, spreading it into Pakistan, keeping the Patriot Act alive, and the Military Commissions Act, and rendition is still going on, and the threat of martial law is still there, and we still have concentration camps sitting there waiting for us dissidents. And our constitutional rights are still being taken away from us. And why all this, when it seems so opposite to the change we can believe in that we were promised? It's because of 9/11, he says. We have to fight this war in Afghanistan because of 9/11. We have to do this because of 9/11. It should be clear to us all that we in the 9/11 truth movement are absolutely essential, because until we explode the government myth and get out the truth, all these evils will continue no matter who is president. So it's up to us. Now, one of the things I did, and I'm going to skip 18 pages of speech here, and go to my conclusion, because I wrote an inaugural address for President Obama last December, and I sent it to him. Now, I heard a few phrases that sounded a little familiar, but basically he didn't use it. But if we, the people, want the real changes that we need, not the chump change we've been given so far, we must demand it. We must let President Obama know exactly what we want. And we must make it possible for him to do it. It's just like Franklin Delano Roosevelt told the unions after he was elected. The unions went to him and said, you know, we've been downtrodden for so long. We've been suffering from these robber barons, and they've just, you know, sicked the dogs on us, and machine guns and everything else, and we can't live on the wages these corporations are paying us. We need this, and we need that, we need this, we need that. And FDR said, I agree with you. Now you go out there and make me do it. Because FDR knew that he couldn't make those changes unless there was a powerful demand from the people. Otherwise, he couldn't get away with it. Obama is no different. I think he has some good instincts. I think he's a good man of heart. But he has surrounded himself with agents of the status quo. Just about every advisor and cabinet secretary is a member of the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergers, or the Council on Foreign Relations, and some all three. And so we have to have a vision of what it is we want, and we have to push that vision. So here's my vision of the future, and I'd like you to pretend with me now that you and the assembled members of Congress are listening to the President of the United States at his inauguration. My fellow Americans, our many problems are not due to incompetence or inexperience or a government that's too big or too small, but because those in government have not been serving us. They've served their corporate masters and benefactors and have deliberately chosen policies which harm our nation and our people. Those of us who dedicate our lives to peace, economic justice, and environmental preservation can make little progress in our struggles so long as ultimate power is in the hands of those who profit from war, poverty, and pollution. But here comes the good news. Today, that power has come to an end. As long as I am President of the United States, this government will serve the needs of the people, not the greeds of the wealthy elite. Now, turning things around won't be easy. What our Constitution empowers me to change, I shall, and I'll do it fast. But for much of what needs doing, I'll need the cooperation of you in Congress, and I ask for it today. You see, this Constitution does not make me the decider, only the proposer and the implementer. You, the people's representatives in Congress, are the deciders. I am therefore vacating all the over 1,100 signing statements imposed by my predecessor. I'm revoking Presidential Directives 20 and 51, which give me dictatorial powers. I ask for the repeal of the misnamed Patriot Act, the Military Commissions Act, and all the martial law and special and dictatorial powers acts passed in the last 8 years. This is not a dictatorship. Today, we the people once again throw off the shackles of tyranny and take back our country and our Constitution. Now, restoring the Constitution means ending the imperial presidency and returning power to the people's representatives. But I warn you, members of Congress, if you continue to violate your constitutional responsibility to serve your constituents and instead serve only yourselves and the big money interests you are indebted to, I will go over your heads to the people and ask them to retire all of you, regardless of party. In order to restore some semblance of our republic, we must give the people real choices, not false ones. And we must have an informed electorate, not a brainwashed electorate. This means electoral reform and media reform. Now, first, electoral reform. The constitutional principle of one person, one vote means that any method of voting which does not produce a paper ballot that can be counted and recounted and audited as necessary is unconstitutional. I ask Congress and the states to return to paper ballots and institute full public financing of elections. Proportional representation, preference voting, sometimes called instant runoff